And drivers beware, reports of some heavy traffic earlier tonight in a serious crash in South Toledo. Plus, new information in the investigation into the shooting death of a 2-year-old East Toledo girl pronounced dead at St. Charles. Let it snow. Yes, as expected, the weather turned a little more winter-like this evening. Nothing crazy, which you would have known all along if you caught Allison's forecast earlier tonight and in the days preceding. Thanks for staying up with us tonight. I'm Jim Nelson. And with that, let's bring in NBC 24 meteorologist Allison Peters over at the Weather Center. Allison, certainly nothing crazy, but if nothing else, a reality check that, yes, December is here, and with it typically comes winter.
That's right, Jim. We actually managed to more snow here later in the week, and I'll be talking about that. And rainfall on the way before that with the warmer temperatures. All that coming up here, my full weather forecast in just a few minutes. Jim?
Allison, thank you. And let's actually take a live look at I-75 near North Detroit. Obviously, traffic around midnight is not going to be heavy to begin with, but I can tell you it was not long ago where there was a steady stream of headlights as things were backing up a little bit. As Allison mentioned, not really sticking to the roadways, certainly wet, but again, it's just kind of that reality check. As we all know, once that snowfall starts to come around for about that first time, it can cause some issues out there. Of course, the NBC 24 Today crew will be monitoring the situation as time progresses. Well, right now, a 27-year-old man is behind bars after police say he left a loaded handgun inside his home, ultimately resulting in the shooting death of his 2-year-old stepdaughter. Police say they were notified by St. Charles Hospital this morning that a child had been shot. Officers responded to the hospital where the child was pronounced dead. Police later arrested 27-year-old Turham Johnson, who police say is the girl's stepfather. Johnson has been charged with child endangering. At this point, police are not commenting on the circumstances surrounding exactly how the child was shot or who pulled the trigger. Court documents say Johnson has admitted to leaving his .380 caliber handgun unsecured inside the home. He is due in court on Monday. Now to an NBC 24 follow-up. Street closures are expected to remain in place after a train carrying hazardous materials derailed in East Toledo. It happened around 8 o'clock Sunday morning near Wheeling and York Streets. Lieutenant Matthew Hertzfeld with the Toledo Fire Department tells us that there is no active threat to the public. Of the 15 cars that derailed, one was a tank car carrying toluene, a highly flammable solvent often associated with paint thinner. Nearby high-tension power lines were de-energized as a precaution, and fire crews remained on scene to monitor the situation. TPD says, however, several streets in the surrounding area are expected to be closed until around noon on Monday. New tonight, 2 people were taken by Life Squad to UTMC with serious injuries after a 2-vehicle crash on South Burn in South Toledo. It happened shortly before 7 o'clock tonight near South Avenue. Crews had to use the jaws of life to get the drivers out of both vehicles. Officers on scene told us those drivers were the only 2 people involved in the crash, and immediate cause was not determined. Now to a developing story. Cheers and victory dances as the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers denies an easement for the Dakota Access Pipeline. The Secretary of the Army Corps of Engineers on Sunday told the Standing Rock Sioux chairman that the current route for the controversial Dakota Access Pipeline will be denied. The Standing Rock Sioux tribe and environmental activists have been demonstrating against the 4-state oil pipeline, which is about 85% constructed. They claim the pipeline construction could pollute nearby water sources and destroy the tribe's sacred sites.
Thankful that there were some leaders in the federal government who realized that something is not right, even though it's legal.
The Obama administration had previously asked the company behind the project, Energy Transfer Partners, to voluntarily stop construction, but the requests went ignored. The news continues to worsen in Oakland, California. Officials now confirm 33 people have died in a massive fire that gutted a warehouse. That fire broke out during a dance party on Friday night. Officials say about 40% of the building has been searched, and they expect the number of lives lost to increase still. The district attorney has activated a criminal investigation team to be on site, but they say that's all part of protocol. A third dog has been rescued after a building collapse in South Dakota. Sioux Falls police say a beagle was pulled from the rubble on Sunday. 2 other dogs were rescued Friday. Police say the pup is scared but healthy. A construction worker was killed Friday, and a woman was rescued from the debris also on Friday. The Michigan Civil Rights Commission will discuss an early version of its report about the lead-contaminated water crisis in Flint at its next meeting set for Monday. The commission has been exploring whether Flint residents faced racial and ethnic intimidation in connection to the crisis. Staying in Michigan, but shifting to Decision 2016, the state's election director says his office will push to have a hand recount of 4.8 million ballots before a December 13 deadline. Chris Thomas testified in U.S. District Court Sunday about the difficulty of the recount, but said his department will, quote, take a shot. Green Party presidential candidate Jill Stein, on the left of your screen there, now in the middle, requested an immediate recount, while President-elect Trump sued elections officials to have the recount stopped. Trump defeated Hillary Clinton by about 10,700 votes in the state. In regard to Donald Trump's transition into the presidency, you might have heard his choice for Secretary of Defense General James Mattis will need a waiver from Congress to be appointed. But getting that waiver is harder than it sounds. Kellen Howell with our national news partner Circa has more on what Congress will have to do to appoint Mattis.
Donald Trump has finally...
For more about Donald Trump's cabinet and congressional law, you can find more stories just like that at circa.com. Still to come here on NBC 24 News after midnight. Take a look at this. Can you guess what all the fuss is about on this flight? It's coming up after Allison's forecast next.